Yo, what's going on, guys? It's your boy Redux What Ifs, and today I'm bringing you a special What If. This is going to be what if Gojo was in Jobless Reincarnation. I was recently watching it. Hold on, let me turn this music down real quick. YouTube can't copyright me about this music anyway, since it's copyright free. So anyway, I was watching Jobless Reincarnation not too long ago, and I was like, let me do a what if about it, because hey, that show is actually kind of pretty fire without the pervish antics of what Rudius be doing sometimes. But yeah, other than that, let's give it a try. So without any further ado, I'm gonna let this intro play, right? And we finna just hop right into this what if for real.
Shawty come and watch me like a movie. Got a freaky, put my finger in her booty. Then she calling me and then she feeling moody.
Now, as I hope y'all enjoyed the new intro per se, but without any further ado, let's get into this story. So we're gonna pick this what if off with, we're gonna kickstart it with Gojo. Instead of Gojo getting off-screened like, a decent, basically like a nuisance, basically. We're gonna say that his hollow purple basically clapped Sukuna, but obviously it didn't kill him. So yeah, Gojo used all his energy trying to fight the world to like the dimensional cutting cleave and slash that Sukuna did, and he used the hollow purple 200 and just nuked himself, right? We're just gonna call it unlimited purple, which he just uses he puts all like the maximum output for purple and just nuked himself, right? So after he did that, he fades away. The white beam of truth strikes him as it burns Sukuna when he tried to touch it, because if I call a certain character, that certain character is going to come. So as Sukuna tried to touch the white beam of truth, his hand gets completely burnt off, and no curse energy can't fucking regenerate that. So yeah, that's clapped. So after Gojo gets sucked up in the white beam of truth, he floats in a limbo, like a limbotic state. Oh my goodness, these yawns. He's floating in like a limbotic state, right? And so he is, I look at him and I sent him off to the Jobless Reincarnation world for that god to handle it, right? So he meets that god of that universe, and he basically tells Gojo that he has a very impressive power set on his own, and he's gonna give him a little bit more juice just in case. So what I mean by juice is that it consists of oh my goodness, jeez, let me just, hold on. Okay, I'm feeling a little bit better now. So after that, he basically said he's gonna give him a little bit more juice, right? And that juice consists of, so basically that juice consists of him keeping his memories, right? Keeping all his memories on how to use his curses. He's just God saying that his powers are gonna be more his powers are gonna be a little bit more stronger and unique, since he's like really the only person that could use only use cursed energy, right? And so after that, he basically his powers will be more amplified in that universe, right? And he will be able to keep his memories, and that god of that universe didn't tell him, but it was basically him being able to use all the cursed techniques of that he may like, right? How he may like that, right? So basically it's what is it? I'm trying to think. So basically he'll be able to like do what Yuta did and be able to copy curse techniques, right? And so after that he tells and God also says that he'll be giving him a little special ability of his own too. And so with that being said, He sends Gojo off, and he is born with. He goes to the Paul and Paul's wife. What's her name? Sheesh, I forgot her name, but y'all know who Paul's wife is, bro. And so after that, they basically give birth to Gojo, right? And when he was first born, they looked surprised as Paul looked at his wife weirdly, because he was like, he has white hair. Have you been cheating on me? But Paul's wife was like, no, I have not been cheating on you. She's like, that's a question I should be asking you, since you're the one that can't keep it in their pants half the time. But after that, they figured it out, and they looked at him with such love and care, and then he opened his eyes, and they realized how different his eyes looked compared to the both of them, as like his eyes looked magical. And so with that being said, Gojo is like, he has his consciousness as he was like in JJK, but like he could speak in his head, but since he's like a baby, he has to learn how to do all those things again. And so after that, he was like, don't name me anything stupid, please. He was like, God, in a Jobless Reincarnation universe, he was like, God, please let me just keep my name, please. If that's like the one thing I may ask, just let me keep my name. And so it's like the prayers have been answered, because it appears that he heard his pleas and cries for him. I just have his same name, right? So after that, right, they said Satoru Gojo, great rat, right? And his dad was like, what made you go with that one? He was like, it just seemed natural for him. And so after that, we're gonna time skip to when he was about 3. He learned how to walk, he talks, and they noticed that Gojo, even though he's the son of Paul, he hasn't picked up the pervish antics of Paul. Like, he's more calm and self-controlled, right? He's more like, like reserved, quiet, not too out the way, just low-key all around, right? And so he begins to, also at 3, that's when he begins to like, use some of his cursed energy, and that's when his cursed energy starts to come into effect, and that's when his eyes are starting to freaking his eyes are starting to like manifest. The 6 eyes are starting to like, give every detail to him down to the last minute detail. And so after that, right, he begins to train his techniques now instead of later, since he knows how to do all these things, and since he was able to keep he was able to keep his memories from his other lifetime, right? So he begins to train his what is it? I'm trying to think of it. Oh my goodness. These yawns are killing me, jeez. But yeah, he's able to incorporate what he learned and what he knows from his previous life to now. And plus, Gojo knows how to fight very well. I would say even better than Paul, since he learned his own martial art style, and comparable to Paul, even though Paul can like really wash him. Gojo can hang up there. And so he was basically just using his curse technique, as we're gonna say around the age of 5. His curse technique, the Limitless came in as he was training with Paul as Paul was like, trying to get him to go serious. And then that's when Paul used like the sword god style and then try to like, pierce Gojo in his chest with the wooden sword. But it stopped, right? And so as it stopped, Paul was like, huh? And so he tried it again. He tried it again and tried it again, but it was not hitting him. It just wasn't hitting him. And so that's when he was like, oh, my limitless finally kicked in. I know how to use this. And so that's when he was able to hit Paul, but, and Paul was able to like dodging and parrying, but every time he tried to attack Gojo, it wouldn't go through. And then that's when Paul was like, what kind of magic are you using? He was like, it's really not just magic, it's just my technique. He was like, I developed it, and I plan on keeping it a secret. I don't want to reveal my true weapon. He doesn't want to reveal his true power. And so that's when he, like, turned it off, right? He turned it off, and, he fought fairly. And so after that, we're gonna time skip again where he learned, that's when, after we time skip, we're gonna say about 7, that's when the blue hair mage comes, right? She comes and she's able to, she's able to teach Gojo about elemental magic, and she was surprised how, she was surprised how, oh my goodness, I'm trying to think. She was surprised how advanced he was and how he was able to like, he was able to pick up on everything so quickly. And so I'm trying to think, oh my gosh. He was able to like pick up on everything, and why usually he can't use elemental magic, right? But he can incorporate like curse techniques to use elemental magic, if that makes sense. So for example, let's just say he wanted to use a fire blast, right? Let's say he wanted to use a fire blast. He has to use a curse technique to, use the fire blast, and boom, he has to use it, right? But we all know Gojo's not like that, so he just wants to, he wants to just use his own style, his own curse techniques, while implementing some new things. Like he's been wondering how to fucking be able to use sword play while incorporating his techniques. So after that he was able to he showed her what his techniques are, and while he was able to what am I trying to say? And while he was able to understand what she was trying to teach him, it just like he couldn't just use elemental magic without him using his curse techniques to use elemental magic, right? But after that, right, he said that she said that it's okay, she'll teach him how to use curse energy, even though that Gojo knew how to do it. He was like, yeah, I doubt that she'll be able to help me do anything that curse energy related. And he was like, okay. And so she trains him, and then that's when she, she goes away to like, study abroad or something like that. I believe she did. And so, oh my gosh, the burps. 10th birthday comes, and he finally goes outside, and he's able to like make friends. And that's where Gojo meets Sophie, as he was able to as he was able to fend off the bullies that were bullying her. And so he found out that an elf was really she was really an elf, but he doesn't know that she actually he was he was able to he was able to cipher the difference, but he still wasn't sure. So he was able to protect Sylphie the elf, right? And he was basically he became her first friend. That Gojo, even though Gojo really never had like a love life, he could confidently say that he might unknowingly be having feelings for her. He might unknowingly have feelings for her, right? And so after that, he was able to, they get close, and he wanted to teach her elemental magic, even though Gojo wasn't able to do it. He had a very good teaching style, so he taught Sylphie magic, and she was able to do magic, and she was able to conjure fireballs, water, ice, ice, and all that other stuff. And then after that, they got closer, and Sylphie was curious about his magical abilities, and that's when Gojo was like, here, throw this rock at me. And so that's when she tried to throw the rock, but she noticed that it stopped halfway at him. And he was like, you see this? He was like, that's my ability. He was like, I can control the space around me. It's more like a technique that I have. And she was like, how did you get a cool technique like that? And she was like, I was just born with it, but I trained it up to know the difference between a threat and an actual person. And he was like, but then again, sometimes it is finicky. And then she was like, what does you mean by that? And she said, like, if they're faster than what he can process, they can kind of get through his affinity. But yeah, he these yalls are gonna kill me. He promised that he could just, not promise, but it's basically like if he's faster than what he can process, they might be able to get through his affinity. But other than that, he's pretty untouchable. And so now that she is aware that she, they begin to hang out like usual, right? They begin to, conversate, have fun with each other. And so it starts to rain, and they get extremely drenched. And then that's when he said that's when he's able to, that's when he's able to understand the true meaning of cursed energy, and he unknowingly unlocks Black Flash. He's not gonna use Black Flash yet, but yeah, that will come soon. And so, as I was saying, they got back home, and they were extremely wet, and so Gojo asked the maid nicely to go prepare hot water so they could take a bath so they don't get a cold, right? And so Gojo got undressed, naturally, since he was raised upon. Even though I don't think he had the best family, right? Even though he didn't have the best family, he was really, he really loved his new family. Oh my goodness, he yawns. He really loved this new family that took care of him, right? And so, he was able to, he took off his clothes, and told Sylphie to get undressed, but Sylphie was kind of, scared to get undressed as she's a girl, and Gojo didn't know that. And so that's when he was like, okay, fine. And then he took off her pants and shirt, and then that's when he realized, he was like, oh, this is really bad. And so, yeah, after that, Gojo was like, he has to apologize to her, even though Paul Greyrat was like, yeah, you most definitely have to apologize to her. And so, as he knows what he has to do, right? He knows what he has to do, right? And so, he what he has to do, and then that's when Zenith, his mom, Paul's wife, his mom, comes to talk to him, right? And Gojo's really sad about it, and he actually starts to tear up because like this is a different Gojo. Like he never had what is it? He never had like a family dynamic like this, right? And so he was like, what is it? It was more like like he genuinely didn't know how to like do this because he never had a girlfriend before, unless I may be mistaken. But after that, what is it? He was like, this isn't it. And so, Zenith gave him a, woman talk about how to properly apologize, and then he got the same from his father, and then we fade to black, and now we go back to the morning where Gojo was caught out for more than trading by Paul, so they could trade the sword god style. Oh my goodness, sorry for the yawns, but excuse me, jeez, I just ate really good. So yeah, if I'm like yawning, I'm really like really tired, and yeah, I'm really tired, and I'm like just like, bro, I'm just like really stupid tired, and like just all around like just not there for real. But yeah, so after that, he apologizes to Sylvie, and Sylvie was like, she wants, everything to be normal, like nothing, falls apart, nothing falls apart, nothing, like nothing falls apart, nothing is, nothing falls apart, nothing is like, nothing changes, they're still gonna be the same friends, and Gojo is relieved to hear that, right? And then after that, Gojo has a breakthrough with Black Flash as he's able to use it consecutively. His highest record so far is he's able to use it consecutively, and he knows that after like let's say 10 times, he can barely use it because it slims down, like the chances from him doing it slims down. But at that same time, it lets him unleash his like potential by 120%, so he understands the true edge and the Black Flash and all his curse techniques, and the curse techniques he might be able to get. So far, he's trained Sukuna's fire arrow, and that is going to be a game changer too, because I'm going to do some devious shit that's gonna make him overpowered. So after that, so the moves that he could do so far is like Lapis. He can't use Reversal Red because he understands the essence and how to use reverse curse technique, right? But he still has to unlock it since he's still like a child, bro. Like he still has to like understand the true fine meaning of reverse techniques and reverse curse energy, right? And so he has Lapis Blue. He could use a Black Flash. He could sort of use an innate domain where he's able to like, he makes like a simple domain. That's basically what it is. He is very proficient in martial arts. He is, almost half as good as Paul when it comes to sword fighting, but he prefers to use his hands. And he can use Sukuna's fire arrow, but he hasn't mastered it, so sometimes it does burn him. So he has like scars around his hands as he uses it. And after that he's able to he's basically becoming a very powerful person in his own right without the use of like magic, and without the use of magic, and basically without the use of magic, or what else, or what is or like elemental magic basically. And so after that he goes home, and he goes to eat dinner, and everything pretty much goes the same until he finds out that that Zenith is having another baby, and that means Gojo is going to be a big brother or a big sister. And then come to the dinner table, he finds out that his dad hasn't been faithful to his mother, and that's when Gojo was like, whoa, this has been really bad. So soon after that, Gojo begins to like second guess everything that his dad taught him and did. And then while Gojo was thinking about it, he said that maybe his dad wasn't the best person, but at the same time, my bad, but at the same time, just because his dad made the mistakes, he doesn't have to be the same person. And so after that, Gojo was able to convince Zenith not to let the mom go, not the mom, but the maid go. And so after that, he's able to he's able to what am I trying to say? He's able to mend the family back together. He's able to mend it all back together. So after that, he's able to get everything back together, and as usual. And we're gonna time skip by a couple of months, and that's when he's able to what am I trying to say? He's able to understand that families go through mistakes, but it's about how people bounce back from them. And now the maid, aka Lila, I think is how you say it, and Zenith, love each other now. And so they both love, him and Paul. So that's when his sisters are born into the world, which they both cry, but Gojo is able to basically not make them cry by use his curse techniques to make them float, and they really enjoy that. So Gojo is a really good big brother for real. And so he was just holding a lapis blue in his fingertip, and then he made it bigger and then made it disappear. And then that's when Paul basically starts training him in the North God style, the Water God style, and the Sword God style. And let's say Gojo is like at like a semi-advanced rank, right? And so he's basically like keeping up with Paul, as Paul has to like try somewhat hard against Rudius. And so that's when he was dodging, and so that's when Rudius. Why did I say Rudius, bro? It's Gojo, bro. And Gojo, attacks Paul, but Paul deflects, and that's when Gojo uses let's say he uses like a semi version of red, which pushes the enemy back considerably far, right? And so after he did that, that's when Paul was like, that's cheating. And so that's when Paul got serious and started going after Gojo, but Gojo was like, no. And so he used his eyes, as his eyes can slow down everything and enhance his like overall capabilities and energy and all that other stuff. But at the same time, he's able to like dodge Paul's attacks. And then that's when Paul thought he had him, but that's when Gojo activated his he activated his infinity, and the sword stopped as Gojo, did a 1 inch, black flash punch against Paul. It wasn't like nothing too crazy, nothing that will like fucking kill him. He's not trying to kill his dad, but he wants to, let his dad know that he's not a pushover and that, magic or not, he could still stand his ground. And so he incorporated magic into his techniques. As Paul caught himself and he's like, okay, let's get a little serious then. And so he like disappears, but Gojo was able to sense it and he dodges as he lifts his head back and sees the wooden sword. And then that's when Gojo was able to dodge, and so he dodges again, and then Gojo grabs his sword, and then he basically like, he coats his hand in curse energy, and palms, he puts his hand across the blade and encases it in curse energy. And he was like, this is something I've been practicing, Dad. I hope you're ready. And so he thought back to one of the cursed tool users that coats their curse energy with the tool. As he made his own sword style, I guess, even though he got it from that girl. I think her name is Mira or something, but he said cursed sword style. He breathes in and out. He said ghost slash of the ghost of the or the venomous snake. And so it's like 5 quick slashes of curse energy in waves, or you could do it the manual way, as it trades the energy for speed, and that energy goes inside you, and you were able to basically after image yourself to slash your opponent. And that's what he did, but Paul dodges it. And then on the last strike, he aimed for Paul's neck, and that's when he stopped the blade on the skin of his neck, and it made a red mark. And then that's when Gojo was like, I'm getting better than you, Dad. And then that's when he put the sword into the ground. He was like, I'm gonna go take a break. And so that's when he realized that, and maybe he wouldn't be so bad after all, using magic and, magic and sword fighting and martial arts fighting, as he knows that he won't, it won't. He said he's saying that he's glad that he's glad that his son is very versatile in all things. And then that's when Gojo was like, he was like, maybe he was like, no, Gojo, not Gojo, but Paul said that maybe it's time for him to start school, right? And then that's when Gojo was like, school? I really never thought about it. I don't want to go, but at the same time, I do kind of want to see what's out there in the world. And, if I do ever land something, if I do ever think about going, and he was like, if I do think about going and I do land in a high position, I could always make a name for myself and come back. And, he was like, I will do that. He was like, okay. And then that's when him and Paul talked about it. And then he was like, he basically wants to go to school. And so that's when he was like, okay. And then he went to go talk to Wood. Paul went to go talk to Wood about Zenith, right? And so he was like, okay. And so as that was going for him, he what am I trying to think of? Okay, so now that I got it, Gojo goes to see Sylphie, and Sylphie he's sad that Gojo might be leaving, so they hug, and they hug each other, and they both embrace each other, and as they were about to kiss, that's when Zenith told Gojo to come home, and he started blushing because he was like, they were about to have a moment here, but things change and things fade. And so after that, they eat dinner, and he discusses about him going to a school, and he wants Sylphie to go with him and pay for the tuition, but Paul isn't having that. So after Gojo thinks that he has everything figured out, he eats dinner like normally and goes to bed. Then come the next day, and Gishelin comes, which is, I think, the North God or the Sword God or the North God. Stop. Oh, my goodness. The Sword God user, I believe. And so, after that, what is it? After that, Paul asked Gojo how would he feel if he had to go, he had to stay away from, Sylphie for some time. And Gojo was like, he definitely doesn't want to do that. And so he was like, even if I explained it to you, he said, even if I explained it to you that, even if I explained it to him, he wouldn't be able to understand. So he was like, okay, maybe I do understand. And then Gojo was like, I know what it is, Dad. What's understood doesn't have to be explained. It's simple. If I beat you, I stay. But if you win, I go. He was like, I've been practicing, so it really won't do you any good trying to send me away. All I have to do is this. And he activated his affinity. And then he was like, now try and hit me. And then that's when Paul's dad was like, don't get too cocky. No, not Paul's dad, but Gojo. Paul, it's basically the same thing, but Paul was like, don't get too cocky. And so he dashed towards Gojo and slashed, but nothing happened. He just sat there for about a good, let's say, 30 seconds trying to hit Gojo, but it wasn't working. So Paul was like, why you think I haven't noticed your abilities? I do know your abilities. He was like, I know about your eyes too. He was like, maybe if I could go faster than what you could perceive, then he said maybe if he could go faster than what he can perceive, then he'll be able to if he could go faster than what Gojo could perceive, then maybe he has a chance of hitting him. And so that's what he does, and he actually lands a hit on Gojo, and Gojo was like, oh shit, he found out. And so that's when Gojo was on his P's and Q's, dodging and trying to strike. And then that's when Gojo was able to do it for the first time as he brought his winning sword down. He strikes Paul as it gives like that crackling black cursed energy, as he says, black slash instead of black flash. I know, kind of generic, but it was basically a black flash but with the sword, and it struck Paul on his shoulder, which kind of like hurt him. And then that's when he struck again with the same black flash within the sword, but since it was since he also uses Water God, he was able to parry and counter it, and he counters it and was able to slash Gojo on his neck, knocking him out. And that's when he got down. He was like, oh man. He woke up and he was in the carriage with Galician, I think that's how you say it. I know I said it better earlier, but after that he was able to he wakes up, and Galician was telling him that he lost, but it was an interesting move how he used some sort of technique with this sword, and she wants to know what it's called. He was like, it's just an improvised sword thing that he made that is able to actually be on par with other sword styles, but he wants to develop it further as he knows that the sword god style was probably most likely that will still be able to beat his style, but not without much effort. And so after that, he arrives to Iris's place as he was supposed to be, he wanted to be what is it? A teacher. So now he's teaching Iris how to use magic. And so his father takes her to Iris's room as he greets Iris. Yeah. Gojo was oh my goodness. Gojo was surprised how beautiful Iris still looked, right? And so with that, he was able to be like, wow, her red hair. And then he was like, red hair, green eyes, and he was just, like he was in awe by Iris's beauty. And she basically told him off as he introduced himself politely, and then he was like, hey, he basically called him a kid, even though that she's older than him by a year. And then that's when she was like, you can't tell me what to do because of this and that and all this. And she tried to slap Gojo, but we already know how that went as he activated his infinity. And so he was like, now that wasn't very nice, was it? And so she saw this and she was like, how come I can't hit you? And then he was like, you could try that all day, but you won't get anywhere. And then that's when she tries it again, and then Gojo unknowingly let it down and he got slapped, and he was like, ow, I have not felt that way. And he was like, well, maybe I should hit her back. And so he slapped her softly back, and he was like, well, that's how how it feels to get hit. And then that's when she tackles him and then tries to hit him, but his affinity was active and she was just doing that. And so he used he flicked a tiny reverse ray away, and so he was able to push her off gently, right? And so that's when Gojo begins to run away as Iris is chasing him, and then he begins to hide. And then Gojo decided to okay, let's get something, let's have something interesting happen, right? So he decided to basically stage a kidnapping between him and Iris, but little did Gojo know it was actually for real. So he asked one of the guards to stage a kidnapping, but it was already one that they were planning on doing. Actually, no, he didn't even stage it. Let's just say Gojo was really sleepy and he fell asleep and he got kidnapped along with Iris. And so he wakes up in a box and he was like, what? And so he kicks the thing open, and so he kicks the thing open and he basically breaks out of his restraints. And so after he breaks out his restraints, he goes to the other box and he sees Iris as she wakes up, and she was like, what is this? And so he was like, maybe if I teach you magic, you'll be able to get out of these. And she still wasn't convinced. So after he let her out of her restraints, the dude comes in and he begins basically to beat the dude Goofy out of Iris. Like, he begins to go crazy on Iris. well, not crazy, not like too crazy, nothing too crazy, but just like a good, and then a punch to the face. And then that's when Gojo realized this isn't a staged kidnapping. So he was like, Iris, you've been kidnapped, and we really need to go now. And he was like, you know, the only way we are able to actually like get out is if we basically work together, which means that you can't give me any problems and you have to listen to what I say. And she was like arguing at first, and then he was like, damn it, Iris. That's when he got a little frustrated, and that's when she started blushing, because she wasn't expecting him to have like a backbone. But it's Gojo we're talking about. So he was like, just wait till we get back. Don't say anything, please. Just let me do what I do best. And so she didn't say anything, and she kept her mouth shut, basically. And so that's when Gojo put his hand against the wall, and he used a reversal red on his hands, and basically blasted a hole out. And so as they were running out, he saw one of the guards that were there, and so he was happy to see the guard. But then that's when that's when he that's when he realized another he realized that another person took Iris into the street down that way. You know, like he took him into the shadows, and that's when Gojo hightailed it back, and he was catching up to the person because he was running. Like, even though he's like a kid, like, you know, he's like what? Even though he's like a year younger than Iris, and he's like, they're both kids, but like, you know what I mean? He hightailing it out after her, and so he just running, and he basically says, he basically uses a cursed energy to hit the ground, right? Hits the ground, and then he pulses the lapis blue in the ground and makes like a wall, like pulled together from houses and stuff. So after he makes a wall, they were like, you want to die, kid? And then that's when Gojo didn't have any he didn't say anything. And then that's when Iris was like, Gojo, but then she covered her mouth because she wasn't supposed to talk. And so that's when he runs, and then he jumps, and then he begins to fight all the thugs off using martial arts in his infinity, as they were all wondering why can't they hit him, as Gojo uses black flash palm on somebody's stomach, and he blows him into the house. And then another person tries to fight him, but he gets fucking kicked in his face. And then that's when Gojo went after the person that has Iris. So he uses a lapis to grab some like rocks and then throw it at him, but it was a cover up, right? And then that's when Gojo was able to palm his hand down on the ground, and he used elemental magic for the first time. It wasn't like, you know, let's say it wasn't like that, but it got the job done, and he made like a fucking pillar that, you know, shot up at the man's nethers and hurt him very badly as he caught Iris. And so that's when he was able to oh my goodness, that's when he was able to I'm trying to think, hold on. That's when the Gojo was able to grab Iris, and he, you know, puts her in like a bridal style. He had her in bridal style, and he jumped away, and then that's when Gojo was like lapis blue, and he pointed his finger as in a gun as it got bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, and he was like lapis blue, and then as it got bigger, he condensed it, right? And he condensed it, and he pointed it at the he was about to shoot it, right? He was basically about to shoot it, and then that's when the person threw the sword, because North God style, I believe, it has the sword throwing technique. So he threw the sword, and then that's when Gojo was like, shit, I'm running low on my curse energy, so I'll have to do this for now. And so he shoots it up in the air, right? And then it just blew, and then it sucked the air in, and then just made a huge explosion. And that's when Galician, I think that's how you say it, but probably not. I probably said it right the very first time. And then that's when it like blew away in the air. And so that's when Gojo turned his back against her. He was like, Iris, hold on. And then that's when she held Gojo, and then that's when his affinity covered him and her, and as the sword, basically like bounced off of it bounced off Gojo's back, right? And so as it bounced off his back, that's when Gojo that's when Gojo he basically saw that, and then that's when Galician dropped down and used the long sword of light, which basically destroyed everything and broke the sound barrier. And Gojo was used to killing people because he killed Toji, but at the same time he wasn't used to actually saving somebody. Well, he was. And then as he saved Iris, he realized that he doesn't have to relive that traumatic experience again, as he wasn't able to save the first person that he was supposed to protect. So after that, he rescues her, and Galician comes back, and they both talk about what happened, and they walk back to the manor that she had with the person that was behind the whole kidnapping, right? And so after that, Gojo, thought that she didn't want him as a teacher anymore. So he was prepared to leave, but then that's when Iris said, "Hold it right there." And then that's when she said that she gives him permission to call him Iris. And he says, okay. He said, "Thank you, Lady Iris." And then that's when she said, "Drop the lady, just call me Iris." And then that's when he walked back over there, and he begins teaching her magic, while Galician teaches both of them swordsmanship, basically. So he teaches both of them magic, while Galician teaches them swordsmanship. And so after that, they begin to train. They have like a little training montage, and then that's where I'm gonna no. After that, they train for the day, right? They go to sleep, and the Gojo has a talk with the so-called human god. And so after he has a talk with the human god, he basically becomes to ask Gojo how things are going so far, as he's basically watching. And so he sees that everything is he sees that everything is going amazing and crazy. Not crazy, but like everything is going amazing. And he begins to him and God begin to talk about it. And he was like, "I feel like there's something after you, and you're not telling me." And God's just beating around the bush. And then Gojo was like, "Well, as long as you're not setting me up for some huge failure," foreshadowing, then yeah, everything's going good. I know you're still watching, so she'll just so yeah, I'm just trying to I'm just trying to do what I do best. And so after that, he wakes up from his dream, and then he shrugs his shoulders and go back to sleep, and we fade to black. And that's where I'm going to be leaving this what if off, man. Listen, I appreciate y'all for all the love and support y'all been giving me for real. This wouldn't be possible without all y'all for real. And I just love all y'all for real. Like, y'all are like so amazing, bro. Like, I'm just happy that everything is like, I'm just happy that y'all love these what ifs, man. Like, even though like I don't do it for the views, I do it because like maybe some people would really like to listen to the stories, man. And so yeah, so like I just really enjoy doing this. Like I said, you know, we're gonna be focused on Gojo's reincarnation. We're gonna be focused on fucking, you know, Gojo's what ifs. We're gonna be doing Dai Han's what ifs. I just got like an insane lineup for finishing this year out and starting a new year strong. So yeah, after that, it's just really an insane lineup. So I hope y'all stay tuned. I appreciate y'all for all the love and support y'all showing me. Like I said, y'all have till next Friday to finish out these votes. And I will be doing Virgil Tatsumi, and I will be dropping depending on what the poll does. So Virgil Tatsumi will be first, and I will probably make that into like a finale movie, depending on where I'm at in the story. So I'm gonna go listen to all my what ifs and figure out what part I'm on. So I'll get back to you on that, but definitely Virgil Tatsumi is dropping first, but that still doesn't exclude all the polls and stuff like. So whatever has the most votes for the polls, I will finish. But after that, yeah, I will definitely be doing that. So so I just hope y'all like enjoy, you know, the what ifs that I'm pushing out, this content that I'm pushing out. I appreciate y'all for all the love and support, like I said. And this is Redux What Ifs signing off.